In previous lecture, we discussed what is variable and how to create it. We also discussed we can give it a name of our choice. However, we cannot use a Python keyword as a variable name. Keywords are the reserved words in Python. We cannot use a keyword as a variable name, function name, or any other identifier. They are used to define the syntax and structure of the Python language. Here is the keywords list in W3 schools. Please note that the keywords are case sensitive. And now let's have a quick look at few of these keywords. And, as, break, continue, for, from. These are our everyday used words, and that is one of the reasons Python is easy to learn, because it uses everyday words in coding. Like in any other programming language, it is important to understand various data types in Python. But wait a second, why it is important? What if you don't understand it? Well, imagine this question. Can you sum 2 plus 2? Of course, that's easy. Answer is 4. But can you sum two sentences such as my name is Rizwan plus your name is Smith? Or what is the sum of yes plus no? Obviously, math operations may not work on a sentence because it is a text. These examples were just to give you some idea that in Python you are going to deal with different types of data. Therefore, you may have to apply different functions, use different containers to store them. The three data types that we will cover in this course are strings, numbers, either integer number or float number, Boolean, and there are some other data types such as dates, bytes, etc. A string is nothing but a text, sentence, or sequence of text characters that is used in a code. Let me make one thing clear here, that we are not talking about text cell, which can be used for headings, comments, or documentation. We are talking about when text is used in a code. Now back to string. Python is a great programming language. Is a string that we saved in a variable in previous lecture. Now let me write this sentence again, and after running the command, this is what I get. An error. Why? Because Python is unable to understand whether it is a data type string or a keyword code block to perform some operations, and as the result we see an error. So what is the difference between these same two sentences? Our sentence is a string and Python wants us to write this type of data in a certain way, which is within quotes, either single or double quotes. So it will help Python to understand it is a text. Let's do it again with a single quote. And now we get our nice text sentence. With single quotes, same result. Now let's run this within the print command, like this. Print with opening and closing parentheses. You can see in the result that there are no quotes. Print is the appropriate way of asking computer to show us the result on the screen. Now let's try some complex sentence. I don't like extreme weather. We have a contraction here with apostrophe. Let's print this and see what happens. An error, because for the computer the string finishes at end of the word don't. To deal with such situations, we have two techniques. Number one, use the combination of single and double quotes, or use the backslash before the apostrophe. In Python, it is called escape character, so that the computer ignore the single or double quote as the end of the string. Let's try with a combination of a single and a double quote. There you go, no error. Now let's try with a backslash. Great, it worked as well. Now let's see a few other ways of writing string values. Writing first name and a last name on the same line but with a space. John space Smith. If you write it in a code cell with a space, you will get this. No space, they are attached. You can achieve your desired result if you can write it as opening quote John space quote close and quote open Smith quote close John Smith. The other way is by using print command, which also give you the same result. We all know numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. We all deal with them in our daily life. Similarly, we use them in all programming languages, and Python is no different from other languages. It has two numbers data type, 1 integers and 2 floating point numbers, or in short float. Integers are whole numbers without any decimals such as 2, 4, 50, 20, etc. Float is real number that uses a decimal point to allow numbers with fractional values such as 2.30, 19.25, 65.12, etc. Integers and floats are two different data types. Therefore, there are different operators and functions applied to each of them. As we have seen in the previous lecture, the sum function does not work to find a total of two strings. We will discuss the operator and function in details in later lectures. You can check the type of the object using built-in function type, like this. Write type and in parentheses write the number, in this case number 9, and hit run. You will get int. Now try 9.5 in the type function, and that is a float. It does not matter if they are negative numbers, -9 or -9.4. They are still integer and float. Sometimes you might need to convert one number type to another, converting float number into an integer number. And you can do that like this. Int in parentheses 97.7. The part of the number after decimal point is cut off, which means no rounding occurs. 97.7 cut to 97. Similarly, we can convert integers to float like this. Function float 97. Float function adds a decimal 0 to the end of the number. Sometimes in our daily lives, we try to find truth values, or also known as logical values. Let me give you some examples. Imagine that it is a midnight and you are asking yourself a question. Is the post office open? I'm sure your answer would be no. Or you can ask the same question as, is the post office closed? Your answer would be yes, because it is midnight and usually post office don't run that late. So answer of your question was either yes or a no. And based on that answer, you will make a decision either to leave your home or to stay at home. We have seen two kinds of Python data types so far, numbers and string. Another type is bool, which is used to represent the values true and false. Bool is an abbreviation of Boolean. We can assign Boolean values like this. Grass is green equals to true. Grass is blue equals to false. It is not very useful on its own though. We can use comparison operators like less than and greater than to compare values and produce a Boolean result. Here, 50 is not greater than 60, so printing the result provides the Boolean false. We have seen common use of bool values in Excel using if statements. If A is greater than B, is true, then perform some operations. If it is false, then do something else. Here you can see a full list of comparison operators in Python. Less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, and not equal to. I would like to mention here that in Python, single equal is different to double equal sign. The single equal is used for assignment. For example, when we assign a value to a variable x is 60, where double equal sign are for comparison. Let's understand this by an example. We have assigned a value 60 to variable x. X is now 60. Now let's create another variable y and assign a value 50. Now let's compare. Is x equal to y? Answer is false. 60 and 50 are not equal. And now let's test if x is not equal to y by using an exclamation point. The answer is true, as expected.